Hello everyone, for this video we are at the village of West Herrington on the edge of the city of Sunderland. There's also a Middle Herrington and I think there's an East Herrington and a New Herrington. I'll get mixed up where they are, but this is a large churchyard. The church is long gone, but it's quite a large burial ground, and like most places from the past, there's Commonwealth graves are maintained in here. I've been to this churchyard once in my entire life, and that was a couple of months ago, but for some reason I didn't do a video. So I have been here before, and I was quite impressed with some of the headstones. Look at this first one. In memory of Lily, daughter of J&A White, born 19th of February 1909, died 30th of January 1910. They also had a son called Stephen who died in infancy in 1918. So it's pretty much the first grave that you see when it comes in here, just by the corner. So originally you can see where the original churchyard wall was, but they took the railings away there. It's quite unique because it's got like a stone perimeter to the grave, and that's, you can see, that's by the masons, monumental masons Fry, and it mentions Chester Road in Sunderland. And there are some, I don't know the history of this particular church, apart from covered quite a few of the surrounding villages, not just the Herringtons. There's a John Jackson Hamilton of Hastings Hill. That's on the west of Sunderland. Blessed are the dead that die in the Lord. In 1863, so I'm guessing because at that time Hastings Hill wasn't in Sunderland, it would have been in the parish of Bishop Wearmouth, probably about 3 or 4 miles from the centre of town, so it probably would have been a farm building or an isolated hamlet. So if I can read that. That's Finley of Thornley Close Farm near Sunderland. Not heard of that farm before. I don't know if that's anything to do with Thorny Close. So Finley of Thornley Close Farm near Sunderland, and it's quite a large stone, that one. Thomas Seymour of Low, I think that's Halning. Can't read that. Does that say tanner or farmer? Who departed this life May the 9th, 1852, aged 72 years. So it's 170 odd years ago. So it's at least been around for a while, this particular church burial ground. It's not some modern cemetery that was built. Have a look over here. I'm trying to look for some old ones. That's 1849. Appleton of West Herrington. So that one there. It's probably sandstone. No, it's sadly worn away. There's the village pub called the Stackyard. Look at this one, this looks quite legible. Jane Morn, who died at West Herrington September the 28th, 1874, aged 25 years. And it's, weep not for me, my parents dear, I am not dead but sleeping here. My end you know, my grave you see, prepare yourselves to follow me. Just 25 years old. And her mother died at Penshire North Farm. 1872. Again, traditionally facing east. There's a place, beloved wife of William Dunn of Blue House. And then another place, Moo Howlers. There was a Blue House in Hendon, down in Sunderland, but I think there was also a couple of other Blue Houses around the area. I'll show you where we are around the corner, because you can probably hear the A19 not far away. Lots of places. I've realised that the more rural or the more out of a town city centre you are, the more names you get on the actual headstones. Robson family. That's members of the Curry family. Mentioned somebody died 1833, aged 3 years a child, sadly. Probably a lot of them, because probably 8 or 9 people mentioned, probably most of them probably won't be buried there. Quite an open area without any headstones there. Possibly that was the area where people who couldn't afford to buy a grave were. Members of the Addison family. There's a grandstone. Andrew Haig. Warden Law. That's another hamlet just next to the A19 near Doxford Park. If I remember, it mentioned some places over like closer to Sunderland, like Tunstall and Silkworth as well. These ones have started to be overtaken by the vegetation. That's a grand one. I'll mention this one. I've just got nettled. To the memory of John Stoke of Newbottle, for 30 years manager of the Earl of Durham's Railways, this monument was erected by his numerous friends. Need some dog leaves, absolutely killed. George Liddell. I think that's Junior, possibly. 1827, I think it's the oldest one I've found so far. Oh, it mentions another Liddell, aged 20 years and was buried at Hortley Spring. That's only a couple of miles away. And that had an old medieval church, so I'm guessing before these plans or this particular burial ground was created, a lot of the people would have been buried at Hortley Spring. Robert Magnair, formerly of Bowness, Linlithgoshire, who died at Herrington Hill. I love these old knit place names. There's another one, Herrington Hill. I don't know where half of them are, like Flinton Hill. If you look on an old map, they'll all appear there. There's another one there. Freesmoor House. There are people watching this will know where some of these are. Thomas Conyers Hardy of Philadelphia. That's the Philadelphia, County Durham, not far away. Thomas Conyers Hardy, he was employed 65 years by the Earls of Durham, faithfully discharging his duty until 15 days before his death. So, God, he was 81, is that 80? 81 years old, so he must have joined them when he was about 14 or 15. So, I think most of his life, apart from the last 15 days and the first 14 or 15 years, he didn't work for them. There's the Reverend Isaiah Parker, Wesleyan minister, New Herrington. Daughter of the late Anthony Jackson of York. There was lots of these Wesleyan primitive Methodist ministers around. The Wesleyans tend to be more middle class, and the Primitives were more for the lower class, the working class. That's in good nick. Thomas Thompson Sawyer, who celebrated his life who departed this life March 8, 1876, at 86 years. He was for upwards of 66 years under the employment of the Earl of Durham and was greatly respected by all who knew him. That's another one that's quite coincidence with two close to each other. Separate people who lived to their 80s, who worked for over 60 years for the Earls of Durham. It's a surname I've not come across before. Bertholm. That's Septimus Ramshaw, good Latin name. I've just checked the weather before and it said it's going to rain shortly, so and more Thompson. There isn't a headstone I want to show you, because it's a historic one and it involves the tragic story of a girl who gave her life trying to save the dog of her employer. That's members of the Saxon family. William Saxon, who died July 8th, 1879, aged 50 years. He's gone, the conflict's past, his troubles now are over. He's won the victory at last and gained the peaceful shore. That's members of the Saxon family. And this must be a relation. This is E. Saxon, the Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, died 19th of May 1916, just aged 18. He gave his life for his country at rest. I think where I was doing was at 18. Probably, I was at sixth form, Teesdale Comprehensive. Going out drinking, not caring the world. Quite an appropriate name. Graves. Cummings, Graves. I'm looking for a particular gravestone. It might be this cross. More Commonwealth graves. Another one, colliery accident, Alfred Luke Charlton. I think it's starting to drizzle now actually. I can't bloody find it. Oh, I think this might be it. As you can see, it's got quite a rural feel to the edge of this particular graveyard. Horses in the next field. That road you can hear, and the cars in the distance, if you can just see, and that's the A19. So on the other side of that is the very west end of Sunderland. I think it's either it might be Middle Herrington or East Herrington over that particular one. Well, this is the one I wanted to show you. Just take that across. We honour the name of Margaret Wheatley, aged 16, who lost her life in saving a dog 4th of June 1936, erected in appreciation by the RSPCA. She was a young girl who got a job, I think, down in West Yorkshire as a servant, and the person she worked for was visiting somewhere over close to the Lake District, and they took the dog for a walk near the main West Coast Railway line. The dog was going to be hit by a train, so she went onto the line to try to save the dog, and she got tragically hit by the train. She survived it. I think it was a couple of days afterwards. So the RSPCA gave her an award. I think the award was named after her for people who gave their lives saving animals. So a tragic story. So the RSPCA actually paid for this memorial in appreciation of her giving her life up. I think she was actually 15 when I did it. That's the one I remember from when it was last time. That's J. Marsh of the Lincolnshire Regiment, 8th of September 1939, aged 28. I'm trying to remember when the Second World War started. It was 1939, so that can't have been long after the start of the war. It's got Egypt, Lincolnshire. His end was sudden, the blow severe. We little thought death was so near. But As you can see, it's still, some of the stuff up there is much more recent, probably like 1940s, 50s, 60s and so on. I think it still is in use, looking by some of the headstones up there look fairly new. And as I say, you can see there's a scattering of Commonwealth graves ones. I'm going to head back to the entrance and see if I can see a couple more before it starts raining. Sadly, there's a few have collapsed over there because there's like a dip through the graveyard. What era is this? Look at that. Robert Foster, who was accidentally killed in the Margaret Pit. I bet there's loads of tragic accidents and victims of colliery accidents. There's an epitaph. His sun is gone down while it was yet day. Quite poetic. Again, another Commonwealth grave one. Members of the Purvis family. There's quite a few Purvises around this part of County Durham, which is where if it wasn't going to rain, I would probably do a second part of this particular graveyard just to give it some justice, because I haven't had a chance to really explore it today. In loving memory of Catherine Humphrey of Middle Herrington. And there, look, Henry, the beloved husband of Margaret Reed, who died July 28, 1995 through an accident at the Dorothea Pit. I think a lot of them are called by female names. I think that would have. That one's a few older ones over here. Names I can see: Swainston, Hill, Buick, so a quick check of this one. I think it's a Street of Family. As you can see, it's quite a large square pit with this little bit over here. I think the church was somewhere near the stackyard. I've seen an old picture of it. And I'm going to end the video over here to this memory to Margaret Charlton. Sisters dear, through many a year we've lived in happy union in every's small, and every year have held a sweet communion. So that was this stone was erected by her loving sister Fanny. On that note, I will leave you. So thank you very much for watching. If you did like it, please give it a like.